Hello, everybody, and welcome to Critical Reroll, a podcast for the critters, by the critters, where we are talking about episode 55 of Campaign 2 of Critical Role. My name's Ben. I haven't been here for 4 weeks, and I'm really confused.
My name's Jess. I've been here the whole time, and I have no excuse for why I'm confused.
My name's Matt, and I know exactly what's happening, but I'm not telling you.
Oh, man. So, this was an episode of fights, and I was it was actually really interesting. I'm not a fight person. I usually just kind of like skim through the fights waiting for more not combat. That's what I'm trying to
RP.
avoid. I'm waiting for more RP, more story development to happen, but yet this fight I was actually interested the entire time, and I thought that was really cool. I know not everybody probably felt that way, but Matt. But I think there are some interesting developments that can come from this. Seemingly, it's not even that important of a battle. This was a side quest that they decided to follow.
Well, that's the thing. So
So
I'm going to go ahead and ask a
yeah,
question now. We're 54, 55 episodes into this campaign. We still don't really, like, we know there's a war. We know that there are gods that are, like, the creations of gods that want to, like, reemerge onto the earth. And now we know that there's an abyssal, like, incursion. What is the main big bad happening?
Everything.
I don't think we're supposed to know that yet. And my reasoning is basing off of how Matt usually runs his campaigns. Just based on campaign 1, that what we started around this level. So we have to assume that they had around probably not this many, but at least 40 to 45 episodes worth of play behind them, or at least story development behind them. And then you get into the fact that they didn't learn what the whole Vecna thing until much later, or even the Chroma Conclave until episode 50 of campaign 1.
That's true.
We still have a decent amount of time to go, and we still have a lot of character development. I think we're still in the growing the party phase.
Or new character creation. Haha.
Oh man, I have some feelings about that I know Dusty can relate to. So I'll talk about those in his absence.
I think that's part of why this episode was so because Ben, you said it that oftentimes when it comes to battle, personally, I drift off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't I'm in and out a little bit more, whereas when there's a lot of story heavy lore drops, RP, I'm like, woo, what's happening? And I'm imagining everything in my head. When it comes to battle, I can't quite imagine it as well, so I sort of drift in and out as bit. But for as much I only got to watch the first half of the episode live, and I was like at the edge of my seat the whole time, probably due to the fact that many of their lives were on the line. It seemed pretty dangerous.
Yeah. I think that definitely plays a factor into why this episode was actually pretty interesting for people that don't normally follow as much combat.
Do you think they all have characters rolled up
No.
like they're supposed to? Like Matt
Nope.
specifically has told all of them that they are required to have, you know what I mean? He's like, have another character ready. Mm-hmm.
I try to watch Talks Machina when I can. I know for a fact that Laura does not have another character, like at all.
Yeah, Labrat in chat has said that Laura fully has said she doesn't have one. Is that due to the fact that she's very superstitious and assumes that if she makes one, she'll lose this one? Or yeah, and then Sea Monster, our other host Kate, has said I think they have idea. I think some of them have talked about having some of them have said I know sort of what I want to do next, but I'm not telling you, which obviously they shouldn't tell us.
Yeah, I don't think you should make the sheet until you need to. Otherwise, you're gonna be like, "Oh, this character could be fun to play. Now I'm gonna kill this one."
I think it's also kind of hard to just have a character ready when you don't know when you're gonna have to make another character. You don't know what kind of environment you're gonna have to bring them into.
Unless you're
Caduceus,
Sam from the last campaign, because he had Terry quasi ready to go, and like
Yeah.
same episode he stops being Scanlan, he brought Terry in.
yeah, but he had also knew that he was retiring a character that episode. Like he had his
It
heart.
wasn't decided yet, from what I
No,
remember.
it was pretty decided based on his Talks Machina
Oh, okay.
thing about that. He was very, very, unless they did something drastic, he was very dead set on taking a break from Scanlan because he knew Scanlan needed it. Campaign 1 spoilers, guys.
Everyone dies.
So, yeah. But the big thing about this is that if somebody dies like Molly did earlier on, he had Telson had to bring Caduceus in such a way that it fit where they were, which was they were in a very rough part of the country. I can't remember the name of the town. But he had to somehow make it such that Caduceus was just there. He was a cleric in a forest near whatever rough town that they were at. So he had to fit that in. And if you're in somewhere that you may have a character ready, but your character would not realistically be there by themselves, how do you fit that into the story? Thanks.
It's all magic. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
whenever you don't have an answer, the answer is magic.
It's D&D. Magic's
Oh,
everywhere. But yeah, we got like, in this episode, maybe not even 5 minutes of not combat at the beginning.
Yeah.
It was like roll a perception and then fight.
Well, they knew what they were getting into. They knew
Yeah.
what they were going down into, which is why they were so kind of like suspicious and cautious. And they were like, and it was while, kind of checking out the space that Caleb got charmed and shit hit the fan.
yeah.
Right? Like, so.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and add a little stream marker right here. Train horn. Lucky for you live folks getting to experience that with us.
But you get to choo, we're here. Get on, guys.
All aboard the hype train.
I hate my college.
All aboard the hype train. Exactly. Let's
Nice.
do it. Here
And
we go.
focus back.
No, we've lost.
We've lost Ben. Ben, stay muted until you're ready. We'll keep going.
You know what? Since Ben is doing that, let me read one of our amazing questions we've received. Let's see. Oh, this one's a good one. It's near the beginning. So, as always, keep in mind we have a Google form which you can fill out with questions, or theories, or conspiracies, or discussion topics. And it allows you to do so all willy-nilly without spoiling people online. So don't forget, we tweet about that every week. Go out there, send us questions, be part of the discussion. Put your name in if you want to be called out. Don't if you don't. So this one was put in by this person I've never heard of before, Dusty. Who some dude, I guess, who couldn't be here this week, said, "Wow,
Geez.
that charm spell. That was a great episode that proved how dangerous that spell can be, especially with low roll streak they were on. What outcomes were you predicting as it went on?" I was scared specifically for the clerics. As long as the clerics are okay, you know what I mean, then you can like come back, and like Jester even like thankfully got back that diamond.
Oh my god.
Thank you, Saren Ray, that she got that back. And as long as they were okay, but like because they were in danger, that's when I was personally the most stressed. Most stressed.
And as a note, guys, normally we kind of go through the episode in order. In this one, it doesn't make sense to go in order. We're just going to kind of do some highlights from this because
it was one big battle.
It was basically one big battle. Just in case people were confused.
It was a very long episode in our time, like what, 5 hours? And in their time, it would have been like a minute.
That's my favorite thing about combat. It's like 4 hours worth of combat, 2 minutes progressed in game.
Yeah. So the charming spell that was basically hanging over the players' heads most of the time was probably the biggest problem that they had the entire time, because it got Caleb first, and then Ford, and then Yasha. 3 of which are heavy hitters in different ways. Luckily, Ford wasn't under it for too long.
Yeah,
But
I don't think he got to act once under its control.
yeah, but then Yasha being under it and having a -1 wisdom modifier did not help.
So good.
I can't believe
that was
I was
literally
actually
my favorite thing, and I even tweeted it about how like the cast, they're so, what happens if we get Ashley's character killed during one of these games? She's not here, but you never thought to think about what if she kills your characters.
That was one of the questions. Did you want to do that now?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is another one from a different person called Dust Ye. Player agency is a thing. If the dice rolls went worse and Yasha demolished them, would it be fair for Matt to step in and change it up? As a DM, if a Jaeger PC would cause a TPK, would you change the narrative?
Would we, or do we think Matt would?
Would Matt, or like, would you as a DM, if one of your players wasn't there and they were charmed by one of your monsters and they would end up, wiping out the team? Would you how would you handle that? Would you okay, this is what happens, or maybe I'm not gonna make this happen?
I would. I don't DM enough, but I would probably say that I would just let it happen and just deal with the consequences later. It sucks, but it's what happened. It's what would have happened in absence of how roles work. Say that everything was the same except for there was a player there, and instead of not being a player there, the same outcome would have happened. The only thing that we can really say is that a player might have made a different decision, but say the roles were exactly the same. So
yeah, that's just the way the critical rolls.
But why do you not have an audio, a sound bit of joke? Yes, thank you. Ready to go. sad trombone. I think I would consider it more with a Jaegered character. Do you know what I mean? If that player is not there and they didn't get to be there for their own character death, that's something I would consider fiddling around a bit. But normally a character death, as much as it sucks, unless there's logical narrative, unless the story is built in a way where it makes sense for them to just it be fixed, then no.
Yeah, I mean, this.
I think. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think there would be a way to not let it play out the way it did. If Yasha were to just off everybody, because Matt had her go for kill shots. If they didn't die outright, then Matt might have ended the episode as soon as the last person did go down, and maybe they all wake up and they're in chains in the abyss or something, and then we got a new campaign.
So a lot of what we're probably going to end up talking about on this episode is the succubi incubi influence, because that is probably going to play into a lot of what happens at the beginning of next episode. Plus, it's probably one of the most memorable things from this fight, other than the demon fiend that's spawned. So another question that was asked to us was that can we talk about how eerily empowered and resilient Caleb became under the succubus's influence? Imagine if it had used Astrid's or Trent's voice. That's a deep hole, right there. So when the first instance that we get to see this influence was when Caleb and Not were near the pool, and Caleb got influenced, but then nothing really happened immediately, but we knew that there was something because unsolicited whispers were a thing. So I was surprised that he was so calm, but I guess he had to be because he was under this influence.
Yeah, I think it was because the way it played out, the way Matt and Liam played it out, was that almost the succubus had whispered to him hey, why don't you call your friends over, why don't you just tell them it's safe, just invite them over here, we can all hang out together. It'll be great. You know what I mean? That sort of thing.
Mhm.
Because that's definitely how he played it. Because even as they sort of stepped into the room, Matt described Caleb as having like a wonky grin on his face.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I
Like
mean? Like very much.
a slight cocked grin and like head
Yeah.
tilt, and then just boom.
Yeah, light
Um,
them up nice and pretty, or whatever the
Oh,
words
ho, ho, that was so good.
and the weird thing about it is that Matt at one point to somebody says, "Oh, your friends brought you here to kill you."
Mm-hmm.
So somebody like that must be what got to their heart to make them, if they truly believed that, that might be a fear that somebody actually has, and I think Caleb might have that.
I
With
mean, as far as Matt goes, Matt. I mean,
Yeah.
it was the charm spell, and that's how like it specifically works with succubi. Like, give you a command, and you do it until you break free.
Yeah.
So that was just adding flavor to it because it's not just use fireball, use wall of fire. It's gonna be like Matt's gonna have fun with it.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Um,
Um
but yeah, I think I don't know. I think it was just I get to attack my friends and I don't get to worry about the consequences. let's use all my big
Uh,
spells.
I don't get to worry about the consequences for now.
Yeah.
You're defo gonna have to think about those consequences come next episode.
yeah. Um
There's
Yeah, like
Go ahead.
that was a weird choice then, dude. Fireball at fourth level, like I don't think Matt made him do it. He like chose to do it. So that could be the RP in the background of Trent's teaching of a torture
Go big or
and
go home.
yeah, go big or go home, go
When
big or
someone
burn your
tells
home
you
with your
to
family in it.
Yeah, when someone tells you to light stuff up, and that's something you specialize in,
Yeah,
blowing stuff up with
you
fire.
use your biggest thing and then you walk away and put your sunglasses on. You don't look at the explosion.
Heck yeah, you're too cool for that. You do a cool fire explosion sunglasses gif. Because
Exactly. So going along with what the succubus kind of said to Caleb about light them up, and like we were talking about how your friends brought you here to kill him, another question we got was, so many turns in that episode, what do you think the succubus said to twist Caleb and then later Yasha to their side?
Magic. That's Matt's answer for this. Magic. The combat for me didn't get fun until like the end when the big guy came and stuff started getting real. So I will make little comments from now on. Y'all continue.
um,
Um,
so many turns. What do you think the succubus? I don't think that that's necessarily what words they said. Although I like I said, I think
I think it's more of like, what fears did they play on to make them believe in the charm? Because
I
like, does that make sense?
do you think they made them? I don't think they made them fearful. I think like if you think of what you heard the succubus sort of say to Caleb a little bit, we did hear a little bit of what was I thought we heard a little bit of what was sort of being said to Yasha. Oh no, we heard what was sort of being said to Ford. Um and just like I think it was more like I
It
think
was
it
something along the
was
lines of like, look at what we can do
yeah, it was
together.
more like look what we could do
Look at the
together
power you
like
could have.
yeah, and even as like the reinforcing, like Matt was saying when the Mighty Nine was fighting back against their charmed friends, the reinforcing of like, hey, look, you knew they were gonna turn on you, and here it is. That's I'm your real friend. It's like it's more that I think a lot of times when you read sort of like charm spells, it's often like suddenly you're like, oh shoot, I didn't realize this was actually my best friend right here. This beautiful demon person's actually been the love of my life, the best friend of my life that I didn't even realize. Who are these other like who are these dumb folk over here? These aren't my real friends. Like, you know what I mean? Like I think that's kind of so I don't even think it matters. I don't think there were threats. I think there were like more like promises is
Yeah,
more the way it would have gone. And
and
so I definitely think it's more like hey, had you ever thought of like yeah, go for it.
I was just gonna say King Sundu kind of has a thing because if you read the like paragraphs in the DMC or the monster manual for succubi and incubi, they do use temptation. So like they do have this ability to charm, but they don't use it at the beginning. So they creep in, they go ethereal, they turn in, they hide and start like sapping from your dreams, and then they turn themselves to like be someone from your dreams, gain your trust, and then have you start doing these things until they can devour your soul by getting you to commit 3 terrible atrocities or whatever. Oh, was John Allison that said that? Yeah. I apologize. Thank you for that correction. But like the thing where they want you to commit 3 things, like a verbal thing, a thought, and one other. 3 betrayals of thought, word, and deed, and then the soul belongs to the succubi or incubi.
Okay.
But then this specific charm effect like has the thing where the charm target obeys the fiend's verbal and telepathic commands.
I do like what Sundu did say, like, because we did hear sort of Ford, like, the speaking to Ford be like, thinking of how powerful you could be with, like, that person and this power, like, as well. So it was like, because we've seen Ford's enjoying of all the powers he's gotten so far, and then Sundu said, like, something for Yasha could be something along the lines of, hey, they're preventing your wife from coming back. I can bring her back. You could be together again. Wouldn't that be nice? Like, promising them things they want.
Yeah.
Over, like, I think it's more honey than vinegar, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Catch it. You're charming more folks with honey than you are with vinegar.
Yeah, but sometimes those that don't like sweet, but instead like the bitter taste. And I'm going off of what Matt said with your friends have brought you down here to kill you.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, how would Matt?
Yeah.
So.
I see.
Yeah, that was just my thought about it. But it definitely, the succubi incubi mind control charm thing is scary.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what's also scary? A giant fucking demon being summoned by the succubi incubi coming out of nowhere.
Honestly, before that though, the description of the area that they're in when Matt gave them, and he was describing the stalactites and stalagmites that kind of look like a mouth, and they're walking into a gaping maw. I was like, are they really though? Because he's like,
no. Did you?
He's like, he does say at the end, like, it looks like it, but it's a cavern. I'm like, is it, Matt? Is it?
I was gonna say, were you thinking that it's
an Alaskan bullworm, obviously.
Oh boy.
All right.
Yep.
Cool. Great. Thanks.
Low hanging fruit.
Yeah, that's fair. So, this demon that we don't know what it is, we assume it's a Matt Mercer creation, one of a kind. Steps out of this portal. First of all, they know they came to the right place. There's a portal, which is what they were trying to find, which is great, and we'll talk more about that later. But second of all, there's a portal, with a thing coming out of it that's there to hurt them. And
right,
that
and
thing
it was
scared me.
For like, they have incubi, they have succubi, they have little closets that they dealt with pretty easily, even in the dark when like they can't really see them that well, and then. It's Jester that like sees it first, this portal, and you can kind of see like, okay, we're here, this is the job we're gonna do, I'm gonna close it, and then a giant hand reaches through, and then a whole body reaches through, and it's like, is it done yet?
Hey guys, you done that thing we talked about doing?
Did you do the thing?
Hey, did you do that thing? The boss sent you to do the thing, guys. Did you do the thing?
So, the banishment right at the beginning would have changed this entire fight.
Yeah.
And it would have been so easy.
Yeah.
I was so happy with Laura when she was like, I'm going to try this. I'm like, I would not have even thought of that. And that was so good. I applaud her for trying it. I wish... Are they level 7 or level 8 right now?
Oh gosh, level 8?
Do they have 2 4th level spell slots?
I want to say yes.
They're level 8. Chad is confirming.
Level 8.
So, I think they have 2 4th levels. I'm surprised she didn't try again.
Well, because she had to save it for Revivify.
She had a 3rd level that she saved for the
she saved her Pearl of Power.
Really? I
Yeah.
just that's interesting. I assumed that's what it was.
Yeah,
No,
I don't remember
she-
what else she did at 4th level that took it away, but yeah, I would have tried again.
Yeah, because that would have
Yeah,
saved
like
a lot of time.
had that gone slightly different, A, that would have been much shorter. B, right now we would have been talking about how clutch that was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like slightly, if this had gone slightly different, we would be having an entirely different conversation right now. We would be like, oh my god, if Laura, that thing at the beginning of the fight that just did it. That went from then on, it just went so well for them.
And like everybody was happy, and they found all the things that they needed, and they got the help,
No.
and then they like immediately saved the other. Like that would be the conversation.
Yeah, and then they held hands and skipped under a rainbow. It was so good.
As they made their way back to the Warring Empire.
The war ended.
No.
But instead, we got the darkest
it was
timeline.
so close. It was so close, and I was really hoping that it was actually going to happen. It would have made the episode a lot less interesting, but that's player ingenuity right there to like immediately be like, "Oh, that's a thing coming through a portal. Let me cast this thing that will help me stop this thing coming through a portal."
Mhm.
So that would have been cool, but
Yeah.
it didn't happen. So then they had a really hard fight.
It was a fun
Very.
one. When the big
It
one
was-
came, it got fun because then you got this, giant bull thing with wings, and then gauntlets that arc electricity.
Yeah, the
all those
descriptions of it
elements.
were very cool, and some of the stuff, the way Matt was having it, is like, well, it lines up a shot and it sends out. You smell like that burnt
Burnt ozone,
burnt ozone smell, and then there's like zap, and then like both y'all zapped.
Honestly,
Like,
I fell into I couldn't not envision the weird gauntlets from Yu-Gi-Oh! From when they were on that dual island and had to collect stars. That's all I saw this thing wearing was a big Yu-Gi-Oh! Gauntlet. Sorry, continue.
interesting. That's good.
It's my 2 cents.
So the fight itself was very back and forth, and honestly, I thought they were gonna either TPK or half TPK. Most of the fight, I thought that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Though when the succubi went down pretty fast, because it was for most of the fight, it was just the incubi and the
Succubi.
demon monster fiend.
Oh yeah.
No, because they summoned him and then the succubi died almost immediately by Bo. I think it was either by Bo or by Not.
By not.
It
Bo
was
started
by
smashing
Not,
her
Bo-
head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh
then-
man, that visual. That was such
Yeah.
a visual. Yeah. So it was that Bo started smashing her head in, and then literally Matt described it as like between Bo's fingers, a lined up shot went like
Yeah.
so perfectly through. Cause like fucking jeez Louise.
Yeah, so great. But Bo, and this goes into one of our questions as well, from somebody that we don't have a name for.
Thank
So
you
Bo,
anyways, mysterious person.
especially hasted, is now fast as lightning. A little bit frightening. First of all, great rhyming. Great
Yes, thank you.
Great Bohemian Rhapsody reference is what I assume you were going for. But yeah, monks are crazy. Monks and rogues, I think, are super crazy, especially as they get higher level.
They have a lot of utility.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I can't do this. Well, then I'm gonna use a key point and do this instead, or I'm gonna do this instead, or I'm gonna do this instead.
Stunning strike, stunning strike, stunning strike. Like that's just such a good ability.
Or step of the wind to get anywhere faster.
Yeah.
Um,
So yes, it is a little bit frightening, but also good that she's on our side. So thank you for whoever sent that in.
Yeah, she already moves so she already moves so fast. It's bonkers. Like,
Yep.
that's
Yeah.
definitely like one of her. She can get anywhere so fast. She can get like, do you think that's gonna get her? I could see that getting you in trouble though, because imagine you get so far ahead of your group. Right? Couldn't it get you split off from your group pretty easily? I'm just okay. That's my thought now, and I'm just waiting. That's gonna happen.
it's gonna be this.
That-
It's gonna be this campaign's Jenga moment of
I
like,
don't have
I'm
wood to
split from the
knock on.
party. I'm split from
Yeah.
the party. I just did something bad, and nobody's gonna be here for a couple rounds to help me.
Someone knock on some wood for me. I don't have any. I said it and I regret it.
Coming back
How
on our fjord.
how fast is her speed right now? 45? 40?
Sure. I haven't
It's
said.
something
Let
well
me
because
find out.
she did 90, so that's 45 doubled.
Okay.
So
So
that
even
makes
with
sense because other people usually have like 25 to 30.
so
Is
Not can actually keep up with her.
Oh
Not
really?
with a bonus action dash, and movement. With 30,
Oh, okay.
30 feet of movement, Not and Bo run the same amount on a fully movement-based turn. Because
Oh yeah.
unless Bo uses Step of the Wind.
But I just think that it's very probable that we'll see Bo go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
It's just likely to me because she does Russian. She is a melee fighter. She is a like get in there first and like start tangling and grappling and stunning all that jazz first. Whereas like Not does tend to stay back and do things from range. So even if
Or
she
as
could,
or as we saw in this episode, if Not does run ahead, it's just to scout. Turn invisible, scout. I'm not gonna get into anything, but I'm gonna see
Yeah.
what's happening.
Except for when she gets into something with a charmed Caleb and while he is charmed decides to tell him about
That
Astrid.
was fun.
That was a thing.
Yeah, there's
that
gonna
was that was 100% a Sam troll.
absolutely.
Totally.
100%. And like Liam even like was trying to still do his like goofy charmed grin thing. He was still like, do we have to talk about this right now? We should talk about this later because he obviously wanted to address it but couldn't as he was currently charmed and under the influence being told what to do by the succubus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's okay. You know what? That leads into another one of the questions we got. It's because it's one of many things that they're gonna have to deal with later. So we got this question from Dustin. Um, what kind
I
of
don't know.
emotions can we expect them to unpack after this? Because oh boy, that Not attack, Caleb, Caduceus, almost everyone. So there's the unpacking they have to do before
Everybody
the fight.
dies multiple times.
Yeah, everyone fucking dies. Sorry,
The only person that dies is Caduceus.
I mean,
like dies, like knocked down.
you know what I mean by
but,
dies.
Yeah, but that's not that new to them. Going unconscious, that's not that different. Going dead, that's different. I think people are used to going unconscious. by
Not
this
the.
point.
I mean, the experience maybe, but not that quickly after one and the other. Like, oh, I'm back. Light dead.
Yeah,
light
but
dead,
they never
light dead.
died. I don't know. But there was. It definitely is something. If somebody wasn't expecting this fight, though, why are they here?
I don't think they were expecting a large half-bull demon thing to crawl out of a hole in the ether and throw lightning at them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't think any of them expect to ever go unconscious that often.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's gonna be real jarring because Caleb has to now deal with I attacked my friends multiple times.
More. Yes,
I set
yes,
them all. I set them all ablaze willingly, and then I couldn't help the rest of the time because I was basically useless. I spent all of my energy fighting against them. A tidal wave tried to push me against the wall, and it didn't work, and instead injured Ford. It put out my flames temporarily, and then when they needed him, he was useless because I kept having to, keep him not dead. So he's gonna have a hard time next week.
Yeah, and then we have Yasha too for the same reason. Like Ford, I don't think will have as hard a time because he was charmed for such a short period. He shook it so quickly.
And someone had said earlier, like they should 100% be afraid if Ford does go dark side for longer than a round because he's got a lot of fun stuff. B, like maybe that's what Ford's waiting for, so he could attack them and get away with it. Because I was charmed, guys.
Hey Ford, how much did you enjoy that being charmed?
Yeah, he could be like, this is a test run. If I do have to turn on these people, this is, a test run of how well I'll fare.
Yeah, see how it went.
I'm still on the train of, I still think Ford's a good person, and I don't think he's going to turn on the part. But I'm the only one on
summer
this train.
child.
Sweet child.
Sweet summer child.
I believe in this train. It will get me to the road I would desire.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think I'm sad. I assume they won't have Ashley next week. I would love to see Ashley play out Yasha's, because I feel like we've seen. Sorry, but personally, I feel like we've seen Caleb dealing with his demons a lot already, and I feel like this will be more of the same.
Mhm.
I think it'll be more of like what we've sort of already seen him dealing with and stuff like that. Yasha's I would love to see, because I even really loved Matt's description of like she was just in a rage, but when Bo wakes her up, she like starts foaming at the mouth and goes after those demons, right? Like she is pissed. I would love to see. It's not like she's had a lot of friends. I feel like it would mean something to her to like not turn on her, to have been turned on her friends. I would love to see Ashley play that out.
Yeah, let's go
So
through
yeah,
some of our chat. I def feel Caleb is going to be a bit different after getting knocked out 3 times in a row. Out, back up, stabbed in the chest. Out, back up again, stabbed in the chest. So he's going to be afraid of, pointy things and fire. Ford had a different voice trying to influence him. He has to deal with that. That's from Generic Nerd. The first one was from Z Slayer. John Allenson, I think Caleb and Yasha are going to be more upset about having attacked the rest of the party. I don't think the rest of the party will be as mad as them as they are at themselves. Yeah. I mean, but you're right, though. It would be so great to have Ashley there to unpack everything, because we don't know really anything still about Yasha. Especially that one vision where she was on like a hillside and saw people, and then like flash and sees them all dead with worms writhing around. I don't know. Like, did she do that? I don't know.
That's definitely part of it. Though I wonder how much this is going to be story based, and how much the players are just going to kind of blame. They had shitty luck through this entire episode. It was insane. Somebody, I think it was, Dizzy, yes. Dizzy by Nature said, was this the worst series of dice rolls CR has had? And I think yes. I think that overall in a fight, I've never seen such bad dice rolls.
well, and like not even just like when they were high rolls, they were exactly when they needed them not to be. So like both the rolls of the charmed people against the main group party of the Mighty Nine were rather high. They were not rolling, and yet they were not rolling high enough to be uncharmed consistently. The non-charmed members of the Party Nine weren't rolling super duper well. Like it was definitely like this worst mix of rolls.
And then I was gonna add what Zisei says. There were negative mods for Yasha on saving against that particular thing.
Yeah.
When they needed, the beacon of hope, it was gone. They did get the use out of it. Like it kind of helped, especially with healing, for them to get full heals from a potion or a spell.
It was funny. Travis started believing in dice luck during this episode.
He's a changed man.
He actually started switching dice and was like, this die isn't working. Just go to a different die. I'm pretty sure he had very much been like against that and be like, I use one set of dice. And I saw him switching dice, and I was like, ooh, that's something. Because he was being affected by it pretty bad.
Yeah.
Well, it sucks more for him because he has to roll 4-2 characters, so a lot of Yasha's wrongdoings, were directly on him.
Yeah. Yeah, that sucked. So in terms of the question we had, in terms of all the things they're going to have to unpack, there's the charmed people, there's the downed people, and then there's that not revealing that information to Caleb. He will remember that, right? Like he will remember and have to be all like, hey, so I feel like he'll
hold on to it.
Yeah, I feel like I think he'll hold on to it, but put it secondary to focusing on feeling shame first, quite honestly.
For killing, Caduceus.
Yeah.
No, well, not kill Caduceus.
Oh, I thought we were talking about that, so.
No, we were talking about Caleb with the shame, I think. But
yeah. Wait, was it not that got the killing?
Not got the killing blow on Caduceus because the
Explosive
'cause
arrow.
the
it's the
incubi.
explosion. That's right.
When I heard that, I was driving. I watched this entire episode while on the move because that's how busy I was this weekend. But I
Dangerous to
was
watch,
driving.
but better to
I
listen.
wasn't watching. Sorry, listening. Twitch streaming, with audio, and they shot the thing, and I'm like, wait. And then he said, "Is there a?" And the explosive arrow hits the thing.
Yeah. And so
And then
Matt's
there's the moment.
he gets the how do you want to do this? And he's like, how do I want to do this? Oh, well, it's an explosive arrow. And then Laura, like, full hair flip. She's like, oh no. And they're like, oh god, what have I done?
And Taliesin, I remember because I actually did have it up, and I should have been looking, but I was just like, no,
Don't
please.
remind him. Don't remind him.
Oh, it was so good, but so bad at the same time because that's another time a character has because this isn't the first time. It happened in campaign 1 too, just not as direct.
Yeah.
With the Percy killing Vex thing in campaign 1 at the tomb.
And like leading up to it,
Yep.
like leading up to like just that moment of, because it was a held action, and so it was, if somebody comes with it, if it comes with a melee and I would get sneak attack, that's what I want to attack. And they kind of had this conversation going back and forth, and it ended up Matt allowing that action to happen, even though Caduceus wasn't a threat to the incubi, so he wasn't going to get the sneak attack damage, but he was, because it was an advantage. He like argued for this thing to work, and it worked, and then he killed his friend.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so okay, so that's. I don't know if Not will feel super. I don't personally think Not will feel super responsible for that, because she only
Dang.
took one killing blow out of several that had to occur.
Mhm.
And it was not an intentional thing, it was an accidental thing. She'll be like, oh well, whoops, sorry. But
Especially since it was immediately remedied.
yeah,
And,
it was
and Caduceus, I don't think will care.
that's what I was gonna say. Do you think, because we've seen an upset Caduceus in the past, we have seen him be like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? But we had that wonderful moment of, Jester specifically reaching out to the Traveler, but also asking about the Wild Mother, and like asking for the Wild Mother to bring him
Yeah.
back. And I just think that confirmation will make it so that like he heard like that he's on the right path, right? Like he's like
Yeah,
I think that will confirm to him that he doesn't need
and
to
it
feel
and it
bad
begs
about
the
this.
question: does Caduceus really understand that he died? Because he woke up and he's like, oh, that sucked, but I had a vision. Like, did he just get, as a grave cleric, so kind of like a King Sunday says, I'm curious about a death cleric's response to being brought back to life.
Yeah.
He like it finally happened. He was like wavering at that edge of life and death, and then he came back and he had a vision, and it is kind of confirmed that, yeah, you're on the right path. Which we'll need to unpack that here in a second.
That actually leads really well into another question we got. We got questions this time. The beauty of the scene with the Traveler intercedes with the Wild Mother to bring Caduceus back. Just wow. The first time we had seen the Traveler interact with other deities beyond Jester's pranks, and not such a hidden god then. And which side of the gate is he on? Lot to unpack there. So the Traveler is a relatively new god, and the Wild Mother is not. From what I've gathered so far with how they're running this.
Yeah, the
So
Wild
fact that
Mother
the Traveler
is Matt's version of Melora.
Yeah.
Same.
So the fact that they're interacting is something in the first place. We've had two clerics of two different deities in the party for quite a bit now, but this is the first time that we've ever actually seen any kind of interaction about their deities. Jester and Caduceus have not talked much about it.
That's true.
Like I can't think of one time that they brought up, yeah, this is what I follow. Oh, this is what I follow. Let's talk about
Back when they were at the lighthouse.
Yeah.
They spoke a bit about the Wild Mother back at the lighthouse, I thought.
Yes, but did they compare notes?
No, I don't think they've ever like sat down and compared notes because I don't think either of them. They're both wisdom people. They're not intellect people. I mean, although, like I'm just saying, in terms
Yeah.
of preference, I think Jester probably actually has a very high intellect. Like I think she's very learned based on what we know of her background. She spent a lot of time being like cared for very well. I think Caduceus was entirely nature focused, so he didn't really care about like book learning. So I don't think they're the type of people to sit down and book compare notes. You know what I mean? Bring out their Excel files and like
Yeah. So
share
when I prayed on this day, I
spreadsheets.
got this answer. Did you get an answer last time you did it?
Well, that's not what I meant when I said compared notes. I'm thinking more like just like comparing. Well, what about them? Like, do you follow? Like, why? What made this story happen? And I don't think that they've really talked about that enough together.
I mean, I don't think that they themselves really know. Jester's is from, a young friendship. Caduceus was because I communed with nature. I don't know
Yeah,
if they
no,
like themselves have an answer for
yeah.
that either.
Yeah, neither of them are like acolytes that trained
Yeah.
at a church. Do you know what I mean? Like neither of them are like literally jesters for a long time. Even all of us have been like, is this literally just like a made up is this literally like a made up,
Is this my imaginary
invisible
friend?
imaginary friend, right? And then for Caduceus, he grew up in like a cemetery graveyard situation, so he grew up around death and he's very like knowledgeable about nature and death. I don't think either of them have very stringently you know what I mean, the usual. I don't think they know all the answers themselves. I think they kind of like are unfolding their powers. They didn't like learn them at a chapel where they were told like, hey, once you've committed this many hours of prayer to the All Father, you will then receive
Your
um
prayer badge,
your
and
yeah,
and
your
I'll
discernment.
respond once every week.
Yeah,
I,
you know?
But it does kind of
yeah.
the whole scene of like it. I'm still kind of on the Traveler's Artagon theory as well as some other people in chat. But is the Traveler like a new deity, like up and coming, just getting followers? Hasn't been verified on fantasy Twitter. Kind of like how Vesh was. Vesh was some sort of like cult entity that became a deity, and now we've kind of got. That's why Artagon is able to interact with him as easily as he has.
Yeah.
There's
Think
going
we'll
to be a
find out at
Traveler
TravelerCon.
TravelerCon 834.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid at TravelerCon, guys.
Never.
It's very questionable.
I think the Traveler is on
the-
this side of the Divine Gate because it is a new deity that is like coming into its power.
I can agree
I
with
think
you there.
Artigan is here. I think Artigan is just using his door that Vox Machina made, and he goes back and forth as much as he feels like. And that's why sometimes he's not there to listen to Jester, and sometimes he is.
Probably goes back to decompress like, oh my gosh, you drew another dick.
God damn.
gotta get back out there.
The thing is, if there are more Traveler followers out there, and we have TravelerCon 836, or whatever year, I just kind of imagine like 8 different versions of Jester in one place, and my mind just kind of explodes, and I'm just like, that's a lot, and
Yeah.
especially not people as nice as Jester.
Yeah, like truly vindictive people that do tricks to harm people.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that.
But like, would that be
Like-
within the tenets of whatever the Traveler is? Maybe the Traveler doesn't know.
I think the Traveler is more of a neutral god than anything, and we just have a good person following it because that's what she needed when she was growing up, and she luckily was raised by a good person.
Do you want a cult? Because that's how we get a cult.
So
Well, since we're speaking about like gods and the gates and stuff, we have a question that reads as such: Abyssal Anchor, there since the Divergence, and only recently activated by accident or planted on purpose?
oh,
Question
God.
mark.
So here we go. So combat ends. They've killed all the things. They start to lick wounds. Everybody gets some semblance of hit points again. And you have Caduceus and Ford looking around. They see a glow. They go towards the glow. We find a thing. We find a silver disc. It's got a glass of mercury on it. It's got little spirally coiled pink gems all around the base. It sounds like some sort of MacGyver portal. Though we find out that this beacon, or this thing, is an anchor that it was used before or during the Calamity or Divergence. I don't remember. I should have looked at my notes before I started talking. But it was used to weaken the veil between the material plane and the abyssal plane so that portals could be opened easier and incursions could happen. My thought is that this was placed here recently. Like, it hasn't been here since the diversion. I think this was placed here for, like, a new incursion to happen. But that's just me. Yours turn.
I'm not sure I have a firm theory on it. I imagine it's I kind of feel like maybe it's old magic but new tech. Kind of like how I don't know, kind of like how we have like all the dynamancy stuff, the dunamancy stuff is like it seems both old and new in the way it works. Like it's new to a lot of people in the world, but it's old magic to some, right? Like I wonder if it's something along that lines, and was it I don't know. I assume it seems to me. I assume it was put there. To me, I would assume it was like intent. This is an intentional. Someone is like messing.
This is
with.
the new abyssal thing with Forge LGET service, and you get better reception on the material plane.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I
like
assume...
that. Like somebody took an old trick, made it new, and now they're testing it out here.
Yeah.
I'm at a loss for what to think, to be completely honest. And usually I have some sort of opinion, but here I'm just like, I have no idea what that's doing here. I don't know how it ties in, and I can't seem to find any threads I like. So I'm not. I'm just gonna go with I have no opinion right now.
That's fair.
I want to see what happens at the beginning of next episode with it before I make an opinion.
Yeah, because they're like, do we put it in the bag of holding? Don't.
Yeah. I think half of them were like, oh, that seems like it's too many different kinds of weird magics. Let's maybe not. Let's maybe like, you know, because that kind of is like a portal, and that's kind of like a portal, and do two portals make a black hole? Like, what does that sounds like? Very
It's the start of Aperture Science.
Yeah.
Do portals go inside of portals?
No, it seems very bad. But yeah,
like, is there another anchor on the other side that's gonna go off and be like, hey, the other one lost connection, send somebody over, fix it.
Ooh. Well, Ben, even if you don't have an opinion on whether it's like old or new or anything like that, do you have an opinion on if it was like intentional due to the war or anything like that? Like nothing.
No, I legitimately don't know what this thing is. I legitimately am at a loss for what I could like, why it's there, how it ties in. Is this just some random thing that was brought there by
a pocket plane of this general? If this big bull guy was the general, like maybe they are like in a pocket plane separate from when the calamity happening, and they think it's still happening, and so it finally started functioning, this little anchor, and so they're finally breaking through, expecting to be part of this big war effort during the calamity, but they're like, oh, we're late.
Oh my gosh.
That could be fun. Like they don't know what's happening on this plane.
The calamity, I like that.
Well, I
finally found something I can go with.
Okay, well, because I was just gonna say, if you think about it, that demon did come through and say, "Hey, you done yet?" You know what I mean? He did come through and be like, "Hey, how far are you in like our plan?" type thing. And was that just a bunch of dudes on the other side being like, "Hey, we found a hole. Let's go party on the other side. Like, you two go first. Set up the party for us." Was it just like that, or is there someone somewhere that's like
orchestrating?
Yeah, much more intentionally.
If these were the foot soldiers, like, who do they answer to?
I have found a theory I like.
Nice.
Okay,
Matt wins.
Matt, you get a point.
Yeah, I get to keep my job.
No, you were still fired.
Oh gosh.
Speaking of this big demon, so the beginning of next episode is probably going to be the most revealing that we've had in a while because of all the things that have happened, and they have a week to kind of think about it. Like, they don't have to act in the moment. They have a week to think about, well, their character went through this episode. How would they react? But there's also the other characters like the NPCs. So, considering the ruckus that they caused before going down, do you think there will be a welcome party when they somehow climb out of the well with this massive demon head? This was asked by somebody on our responses sheet.
We'll call them Hervé.
And
I just thought I'd give somebody a name. Sorry.
okay. And that's a good question. It's not something I thought about, but they with all the stuff that they did 2 episodes ago of just trying to get into the well. It wouldn't surprise me if there were people just being like, "Why did those guys go in the well?"
And then, why was there all that noise down in the well?
Yeah,
why was all there shouting and screaming? And
people were out and about. They smashed in the door to some sleeping bugbear's house. They told the bugbear to go to sleep, but if I were them, I would probably go to the authorities.
And this bugbear is not very smart and doesn't understand that, no, we never saw you.
Yeah, and they're going down. Yeah. They're going down into this thing in the middle of the night. They're taking a long risk. Gonna wake up now, probably like 8 in the afternoon, or I don't know how time works.
8 in the afternoon.
That's definitely not how time works. Probably like, I don't know, close to. I don't know. Don't. I'm confusing myself. They could be woken up in the middle of the night by people like banging on the orb, like, "Hey, wake up! What are you doing down here?" Explain the things here, or they could climb up to that same reception.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. A lot of people in chat, Z Slayer, Generic Nerd, a lot of people are pointing out that it was like 7 a.m. It was approximately like dawn. It was something like it was early morning when they said they were gonna like start their rest or whatever it was. But either way, Mercer said that this is a society where there's a lot of people who are nocturnal. So there's never not people walking around this city. There's never not someone to like notice the screaming happening from the well and the big like bada boom when there's a friggin' lightning crash in the well and like
the question is, how deep are they?
They went like 30 feet down and like 60 feet out, and it waved and then plateaued. I'm pointing but to nowhere.
Yeah, how much would they hear through solid stone?
I mean, when you class Thunderstep, and I think it was done either once or twice, that can be heard within 300 feet. So, I mean, assume some of the land will absorb it, but like they're still gonna feel a lot of the stuff happening.
But would anybody actually know like what that is? Like they
would be curious to find out.
I think they would be curious.
Yeah, but go with me for here. So there's a land, and then they travel down this well, and then they went this way for a bit, and a thunderstep happens here, which causes sound to go out and explodes out of here and here and here. And so the nearest point would be right above, like the nearest point for somebody hearing would be right above where the thunderstep is. But why would they connect something that happens over here with this well that's over here if they don't know that there's a...
Because there's a bugbear that witnessed it all.
Yeah,
yes, but why would that weird boom that no one knows how that was caused, except for the people that were there, be connected with somebody that went down a well?
Because it's only 60 feet away, in my opinion. That's not super far.
But they traveled.
Yeah, they did travel. But they didn't travel, a vast distance. Like, for weeks. This all happened in one night.
No, I know, but they traveled down that place and then split off into the 2 paths. I don't know. I don't see how it would be connected, but that's just me.
Soil is a good insulator. I think like the areas immediately around won't be too bad. What's going to happen is the sound is going to echo through all the open air. All the open air parts, it's going to bounce and go around. It's going to I think a decent amount of sound will come out through the well. Personally, I think enough people will be like, what the heck? Like, especially in a city where like these aren't sounds that I imagine happen all the time in the city. Like, you know what I mean? Just because it's different sounds, I think people will be curious. I think they'll have... I don't think there's going to be a fleet of guards waiting there to arrest them. But I think there will be some curious folk.
Yeah, they're like...
That's right.
A weird group of people came to the town, and they have a human with them. That's kind of weird to be in the city of beasts. They spent the day looking around different wells and were caught by a guard, by many people seeing them. They were asked questions. They came back at night. Oh, I mean, not everybody knows they came back at night, but then weird stuff is happening underground. Like, I mean, I think there's enough there that like people will put it together, and something will have to be answered to next week on the surface.
I think the last question is a good final question because it's a silly, fun one. I don't know if you guys want to do.
Let's do it. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap this up.
Unless, is there anything else? Hey, chat. Hey, you guys. Is there any other particular things that happened this episode y'all wanted to talk about? I feel like we talked about.
I mean, the only thing that I would bring up
drama.
is how Caduceus has confirmation that he's on the right path, just by that
Yeah,
vision
I
that he
thought that was
got
good.
of like
That makes me happy.
mountains and people and ice, and like the wind blew east and it's a warm breeze, and you feel like you're on the right path.
Thunder gauntlets.
She can punch ghosts from far away.
I thought that was so cool. And
That's
I was
pretty
like,
cool.
Whoa. It's I was also had the thought like it's not often you get to actually take a weapon from a fiend that's summoned.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like normally they're so big that they're not actual magic weapons that you're allowed to take. Like anything you get out of the monster manual, it doesn't have an item stat block attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
This one specifically designed by Matt did.
Mhm.
So I thought that was just a really cool twist. I was like, I wouldn't have thought to like actually look at the stuff the monster was using because it's a demon, and that just didn't. But also what people are saying in chat with these gauntlets, she now has 20 feet of reach, which for somebody who is not able to necessarily shoot stuff in air, like they can't use like a firebolt to cast something that's flying. The
Mhm.
fact that she has this reach now,
And it does lightning
it's a
damage,
lot more
which
useful.
isn't like always a thing. There's not a
Mhm.
lot of things that do lightning, so it's fun.
It's not a super common one, so it's a really fun one.
My
for sure.
question that I would ask for you guys and the chat is, what do you guys think they should take as proof? Because they're currently on Jorhas. Jorhas is, mounting an invasion on the Zinnian Empire, Dwendalian Empire, whatever it is. Should they take just the heart or say, hey, go down, look at this place? Or should they take this like weird disc thing that is used for invasions to these people? Or should they not tell them about that?
I'm agreeing with Z Slayer right now in chat, which they need to bring somebody. Yeah, they need to just bring somebody down there. It makes so much more sense. Like bring a party down there. Sure, it's not. They've cleared everything out. I think that would be the best way to prove their story, to make sure that they're not lying. Especially if they're gonna sleep down there and they wake up and nothing's different.
That's true. They wake up and somebody's like cleaned the area. Like, it's you now. We framed you.
That's different. So.
Yeah.
They have a lot.
I don't think they're gonna take the head. There's some people like they specifically took the time and effort to saw off that head, which ew.
Apparently weighs 300 pounds.
Yeah, Matt was like, this is a gory, disgusting freaking process. And then he said, and this head alone is 300 pounds. Like, that is not a light, reasonable object to carry around. They don't have a cart waiting at the top of to like put a, like a blanket over it and be like, oh, don't look at that bloody blanket. It's totally fine. Well, we're like, no, they're not taking that head. Like,
bring a group down.
Yeah, I don't know. Leave the head, take the orb.
Yeah. No. I wouldn't even take the orb. I would say keep the orb down there.
Fair enough. So let's do this last question because I think it's fun.
Yes.
Okay. So this last question. Thank you, whoever sent this one. You didn't put your name, but I appreciate it. What a fun question. Thank you so much. If one of the other hosts was swayed by charms of the incubi or succubi, how would you snap them out of it?
Oh dear lord.
I feel like I would offer Ben some extremely incorrect math and stats, and he would get so frustrated that he would snap out of it.
Okay.
But you're not wrong.
I know I'm not wrong.
So that's Ben.
I'm not wrong.
Ben, your turn.
Oh man.
How would you knock me out of a charm?
Yeah, I was gonna do Jess, but I'm gonna do you now.
No, we gotta go. Got going.
Yeah, I know. Now I'm thinking.
Haha.
I wasn't ready for this question. I don't know. I would probably just play. I would probably play the It's Ben theme like multiple times in a row
Oh my
for
god.
that. Just because I know that would snap you out.
Yeah, yeah.
Something.
Bare
You
Naked
would have
Ladies
to
would totally
keep
knock me
saying
out of a
it.
charm. Yep.
Yes.
Just that one song
So-
over and over and over again.
It's Ben.
Yeah, it's been.
That's so good.
I mean, the low hanging answer for Jess would be anything plant or fawn related, or deers. But to really snap her out of a charm immediately,
Oh no, I'm worried. I'm really scared.
I would.
Everyone in chat is going for the low hanging fruit right now.
I would say, hey Jess, the Fab Five are behind you and want to give you a hug. And yeah, exactly that. And then when you're turned around, I hit you on the head, and then you have to make the save, and then it'll be fine.
Jonathan?
Yep. Jess, Jonathan wants to color your hair.
Oh my god, yes!
Also, I appreciate the baby shark comment. I'm not sure who they're for, but yes, that would totally stop me.
Oh
out of
no,
it.
that is probably aimed at me, and you are all right.
I feel like there's a few of us, but Matt is literally the one that introduced me to Baby Shark. So how dare Abernathy?
I'm already
dare.
mad at myself. I would sing. That would incapacitate me, and you would get as many hits as you want because I'd be singing the song, doing the dance, the R&B version, every parody of the song.
Oh,
Oh
baby
my gosh.
shark.
Do.
That was fun. I really like that question. Thank you so
Yeah.
much to whoever sent that one. And guys, don't forget, in the future, make sure you're sending out those questions to our forum. We will always tweet it out. Follow us on Twitter so you can see when we tweet it out and see when we go live and see all that cool bean stuff.
Yeah. We love fun questions like that to help end off the episode on a smile and not on the death that was Caduceus.
Oh no.
So,
He got better.
yeah. He did get.
Thanks everybody for watching. Follow us, hit like, subscribe, leave a comment and a review, and be nice to us. My name was Matt. I was one of your hosts. You can find me on Twitter at Matt_Abernathy.
My name's Jess. You can find me on the Twitch and the Twitters and all the places as @go_JG.
And hi, I'm Ben. I go by Nordic Peppy on Twitter. And that's it.
That's it. Bye, everybody. Say bye.
Bye. You're awesome. Thanks so much. Hurt your faces. Bye.
Pow, 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 pow.